This morning's service is a gift to us from my dear, dear friend and colleague, the Reverend Cheryl M. Walker. I spent 3 years working with Cheryl on the board of the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association. When we rotated off, we've kept in close touch. Cheryl is a tell it like it is preacher. She's also a Black woman who led one of our key religious bodies through a very turbulent time. So here's your heads up. Her sermon is clear, direct, timely, and prophetic. I'm really excited to share it with you. In addition to Cheryl's voice, we're bringing in the voice of the poet Langston Hughes, both as readings and some pieces that have been set to music by a friend of Paul's. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Langston Hughes, but just in case, here's an abbreviated version of his bio from the Academy of American Poets. James Mercer Langston Hughes was born on February 1st, 1902 in Joplin, Missouri. His parents divorced when he was a young child, and his father moved to Mexico. So he was raised by his grandmother until he was 13, when he moved to Lincoln, Illinois to live with his mother and her husband. The family eventually settled in Cleveland, Ohio. In November 1924, he moved to Washington, D.C., and 2 years later published his first book of poetry, The Weary Blues. Then in 1930, his first novel, Not Without Laughter, won the Harmon Gold Medal for Literature. Hughes is particularly known for his insightful portrayals of Black life in America from the 20s through the 60s. He wrote novels, short stories, plays, and poetry, and is also known for his engagement with the world of jazz and the influence it had on his writing. His life and work were enormously important in shaping the artistic contributions of the Harlem Renaissance in the 1920s. Langston Hughes died of complications from prostate cancer on May 22, 1967, in New York City. So, may these voices weave their way into our hearts and minds this morning, and may they change us for the better. Let's take a minute now to center down. Whoever you are, wherever you've come from, whatever your beliefs, whomever you love, and however bumpy your life's journey, know that you are welcome here. We're hoping that everyone has a chalice or a candle to light and something to light it with. Let's light it all together. Our opening words are a Langston Hughes poem set to music. All of these are original compositions written by a friend of Paul's and used with permission. Those of you who were here 2 Sundays ago heard a beautiful story and sermon about rivers and the need to cross to the other side. So rather than typing anything in the chat, I'd invite you to bring to mind a river that you have loved. Maybe close your eyes, picture yourself standing on the edge. What does it have to teach you? And what do you see on the other side? This is I've Known Rivers.
I've known rivers. I've known rivers, ancient as the world and older than the flood. on the Nile and raised the pyramids above it. I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans. And I've seen its mighty bosom turn golden in the sunset. I've known rivers. I've known rivers, ancient, dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers.
Let's sing together.
Oh, I woke up this morning with my mind
And it was
stayed on freedom. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I was walking and talking with my mind stayed on freedom. Walking and
purge my heart of the song and the sadness. What can purge my heart but the song of the sadness? What can purge my heart of the sadness of the song? Do not speak of sorrow with dust in her hair, of bits of dust in her eyes. A chance wind blows there. The sorrow that I speak of is dusted with despair. Voice of muted trumpet, cold brass in warm bitter television blurred by sound that shimmers What can purge my heart of the sun and the sadness? What can purge my heart but the song of the sadness? What can purge my heart of the sadness of the soul? Of the soul, of the sadness of the soul. When I get to be a composer, I'm gonna write me some songs about daybreak in Alabama. And I'm gonna put the prettiest songs in it, rising out of the ground like a swamp mist and falling out of her. black and white, 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 black people. And I'm gonna put white hands and black hands and brown and yellow hands and red clay hands in it, touching everybody with kind fingers and touching each other natural as dew. In the dawn of music, in the dawn of music, when I get to be a composer and write about daybreak in Alabama.
Our reading this morning is A Dream Deferred. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? We're going to sing again now, Step by Step, The Longest March.
Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones can form an arch, singly none, singly none. And by union what we will can be accomplished still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly none, singly none. Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones can form an arch, singly none, singly none. And by union what we will can be accomplished still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly none, singly none.
The poem we opened our service with this morning, A Dream Deferred by Langston Hughes, has been in my heart over the last few days. It's been weighing on me as I have seen the protests around the country. I find the very last line especially poignant. Does it explode? It feels like an explosion is happening. The uprising of people, mostly young from all different backgrounds, on the heels of yet more deaths of Black people at the hands of the police, is indeed an explosion. Rightly so. Because George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery are just the latest additions to a list of names of Black people who were killed by the police that now is over 1,200 names in the last 5 years alone. Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Eric Garner, Dominique Clayton, Jonathan Farrell, Freddie Gray, Jamar Clark, Philando Castile, Betty Jones, and Walter Scott are just 10 of those names. Some of those names may be known to you and some are not, but all of them have one thing in common. They were Black people who were killed by the police. So maybe this is the tipping point. A point when we finally understand and we are no longer willing to accept the fact that police are killing Black people. Maybe this is the tipping point when we get serious about racism and in particular serious about anti-Blackness. It remains to be seen if it really is a tipping point, because we have been here before. We thought the murder of Emmett Till was a tipping point, and it was not. We thought the brutal beating of Rodney King was a tipping point, and it was not. So many times we have thought, surely this is the tipping point, and it was not. So you must understand that as a Black woman, I am not sure that this is the tipping point. I am not sure that white people, especially so-called good white liberals, will finally be able to say without equivocation that Black lives matter. I am not sure that people will embrace being an anti-racist instead of just being satisfied to call themselves non-racist. I am not sure that anti-Blackness will be confronted in ourselves and in our society. I am not sure if this is just a moment or the tipping point when we honestly take seriously America's original sin and become true agents and activists for change. Is this a moment or a movement? I have my doubts. One of the reasons I have those doubts is because of the numerous texts I have received from well-meaning white people, not all of whom would I consider my friends, who say, "I love you. I love you." As if the thing I need right now as a Black woman in America is a love text from white people who have unlimited texting. That is not what I need right now. It's all well and good to say you love me, but that alone is not enough. So I've been thinking about what I do need. What do I need from white people? And what do I think most Black people need from white people right now? Well, the first thing I need is for white people to accept their whiteness. Stop saying, "Oh, I don't see race." Yes, you do. Everyone does. So see it in yourself. Stop pretending as if you are above the fray and as if whiteness did not carry meaning, because it does. I need white people to know that their whiteness gives them privilege. Don't tell me how you are poor or was raised poor or your granddaddy was poor or you're gay or you're a woman and you're part of the oppressed as well. If you are white, you have privilege. Accept that you do, and then use it. As the writer Ijeoma Oluo says, racial privilege is like a gun that will autofocus on people of color until you learn to aim it. When utilized properly, it can do real damage to the white supremacist system, and it's a weapon that people of color do not have. Use your privilege. You can say things we cannot. You can do things we cannot. You can confront racism in ways that we cannot. I need white people to explore anti-Blackness in themselves and in our society. Just look at the ways you use language. Is Black automatically negative? A Black heart, a Black mood. Seems the only time Black is good is on the Friday after Thanksgiving. Now, I will tell you, this is a hard one to confront because anti-Blackness is rooted so deeply into our understanding of our society. Dr. Kihana Miriah Ross explains this. Anti-Blackness is complicated by its need for our existence. For example, for white people, the abject inhumanity of the Black reinforces their whiteness, their humanness, their power, and their privilege, whether they're aware of it or not. Black people are at once despised and also a useful counterpoint for others to measure their humanness against. In other words, while one may experience numerous compounding disadvantages, at least they're not Black. What I need from white people is an affirmation that Black lives matter. And short of that, just stop killing us. Stop getting us killed. Stop calling the police and saying an African American is assaulting me when they are filming you with your dog off a leash. How badly could that have gone? Stop using your whiteness as a weapon. What I need from white people is for them to become anti-racist. Being a non-racist is not good enough. It's not enough to say, well, I'm not racist, which is probably not true anyway. You must become anti-racist. Being an anti-racist means you are developing a different moral code, one that pairs a commitment to not being racist, whether verbalized or not, with action to protest and end the racist things you see in the world. Being an anti-racist means you do more than just sit on your couch and clutch at your heart when you witness racism on your television. It means you do something. And what I need from white people is to stop asking me what you should do. First, you don't pay me enough for the emotional energy it takes to do your anti-racism domestic work. Secondly, I've already told you things to do. Third, it's your work. Mine is different. You can't copy off of my paper. We have a different test. And fourth, if you are on this Zoom call right now, it means you have a computer and you can just type in, quote, "What can I do as a white person to be an anti-racist?" end quote. And you will get pages and pages of answers. I know because I typed it in myself. Read them all if you must, but do your homework and stop asking me or any other Black person to do it for you. There, I just actually told you what to do. What I need most from white people is to be strong. Be strong enough to recognize how fragile you are when it comes to race. True strength comes when we recognize our weaknesses rather than hide from them. True strength comes from knowing that it will be hard work and you will do it wrong, that it will hurt your feelings sometimes and you will hurt others too. But be strong enough to listen when someone tells you about your racism. Be strong enough to tell someone else about their racism. Be strong enough to stay in the struggle for the long haul. Be strong. Well, that's my starter list of things Black people need from white people. I have taken the liberty of speaking on behalf of all of Black America. Though there are things other Black people may need from white people, don't assume you or I know everyone. Ask, what do you need from me today? Now, in the midst of all of those love texts I was getting, there was one that I really did appreciate. It said, "I want you to know that I love you and Elizabeth." And then it went on to say, "I commit myself to dismantling white supremacy and fighting racism." And I really needed that text because it gave me hope. It gave me hope that maybe truly we are at a tipping point. It gave me hope that good people are willing to work to become great people. When I see people in the streets demanding justice, I have hope. And let's face it, we all need some hope these days. But know this too. Hope alone will not change the world. Hope, along with courage, strength, commitment, and action, will change the world. We may be at a tipping point. I hope we are. I hope we are. Amen. Blessed be. Ashe. I love you.